I got together 5 Black women to tell you about a big leap they took in their lives. These women are going to share with you one at a time things that they did in their lives that were maybe a little bit controversial, definitely pretty radical. This is a pretty radical conversation about some pretty radical changes made by some women who are now living pretty radical lives, but before were living the same life that a lot of us today, a lot of you here today are living. But we're going to talk to 5 Black women who decided that they were going to take agency over their lives, that they were going to live a life of their dreams, and that was going to require them to take a big leap. So, welcome. We're talking about making the leap. My name is Stephanie Perry. I'm a house sitter. I'm the creator of House Sitter School. I'm the co-creator of Exodus Summit, and I help Black women take a sabbatical or a career break, bop around the world as a nomad, move abroad. If any of these things sound interesting to you, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Please hit the subscribe button. You have to actually do it. Thank you. And then turn on notifications, ring that notification bell. You'll be notified when I post a new video or when I go live. Welcome. Okay, so we're going to just talk to 5 Black women back to back about what leaps they took in their lives. And then, I like to take notes. So in the end, we'll wrap things up. We'll talk about how you can use the information or the stories that these women have shared with you to take a leap in your own life. I radically reinvented myself, which we're going to talk about later at the end of the video. Radically. Right? And it required some action that other people did not necessarily agree with. We're going to hear from these other women about steps that they took that people wouldn't necessarily agree with, but helped introduce them to a more intentional way of living, a more whole way of living, a more joyful, peaceful way of living. But listen, I don't want to spoil it. Watch for yourself. Okay, here we go. Okay, so
Okay.
Frankie, tell us about your leap.
My leaps, it happened when I turned 50 years old. I was in a situation where I wanted to just do something different. I needed a change in my life and I didn't know what that looked like. And I thought about it and I thought, well, you're never going to you're never going to dot every I or cross every T. So for me, what happened is I was driving down the street one day with my ex-husband and I had been looking at going to like Chiang Mai. This was my original thing. Like, maybe I
Oh,
can go to Chiang Mai. I'm a digital nomad. Let me go to Chiang Mai. And
okay.
so, but I was looking at people who were in a younger demographic and I saw that. So you know how YouTube, it'll lead you to where you need to go. So I started seeing this like a van life people, these older, like middle-aged van life people. And I was like, Chiang Mai, 24 hours on a plane or van life. Let me try that. And I really don't consider myself a van lifer. But anyway, let me get back to the story. So I'm driving along. I saw this van. I'm like, I can go take some long road trips in this van. So I bought this van, threw like a cot and a pot in the van, and I took off. And I've been taking these long road trips. And that was my leap at 50 years old. I just didn't want to. My kids are grown. I'm divorced. And I was just like, I want to do something different. I don't want to just sit here. I had a roommate situation. And I was like, I don't have to be here. I do remote work. There's no reason why I have to be here. And so I got in a van and I hit the road and I've met a lot of wonderful people from traveling. And that was my big leap. And it wasn't something I was forced into. I just thought, that seems kind of fun. I want to do that. And I saw a lot of people who were older. So that made me think, it's not for young and beautiful people. It's for
Yes.
everyone. For everyone. Everyone can do this. And so I just did it. And I never consider myself like a full-time van lifer. I'm a more of a nomad because now, as you can see, I'm here in my winter room, as I call it. And so my lifestyle has been hotels, campgrounds. I love campgrounds. I love camping. I'm staying on BLM land. It's been a variety of things. So it's never been just, oh, it's van life. No, it's more like nomad life, like whatever I'm doing at the moment. So now I'm in Ohio. This is my winter room. I come here pretty much every winter,
Uh-huh.
and that's what my lifestyle is. So that's how I made the leap. I just was like, I want to travel, and how can I do it how can I do it in an affordable way?
Uh-huh.
And that's how I was able to do it. I just got in the van, get in the
We're
van, get in
we're
the van.
seeing we're seeing some really common themes here. So something about 50. Okay, I didn't realize this, but I think most of the women I've talked to have said they were about to turn 50. Was did you when you were approaching 50, did you feel like it was time for you to make some major changes, or did those major changes start happening before 50 and 50 was just a time when you were like, now I'm
They
ready?
started happening before I turned 50. It was just like the kids, like I said, my kids were grown. I'm divorced. And I was like, I'm doing remote work, so I don't need to be here. And I just started to feel, I don't know if it was a midlife crisis or what, but I was just like, I want to do something exciting. And that was about, people thought, my family, of course, like, you're crazy. I threw myself a sip and paint party. And my kids came, my family members came, and I'll never forget my son's girlfriend. I'm moving into a van, and I'm traveling across the country, and she drew me. She painted me like this sad face with these stars, and everybody else kind of got it, but she kind of was like, hmm. Moving into a van. So I was like, I'm gonna have a time of my life. And so I always knew, in taking that leap, you can always leap again. It's no such thing as just one leap, right?
That's right.
So it could not have not worked. I just wanted to try it. And 4 years later, I'm still good. I'm
Four
still good.
years. 4 years.
It's been 4 years. It's been 4 years. Now, of course, I've had times where, like I said, because I've crisscrossed the country, I've stayed with friends that I've met. Campgrounds, I love campgrounds. Campgrounds are incredibly affordable. So I
Right.
love just being outdoor, and I love being outside in nature. Nature is my therapy, and I love the great outdoors. So I've done a lot of that. I've Airbnb. When I had a landmark birth, not landmark. I had a birthday party. I was in San Diego, and me and my aunt, we rented an Airbnb. It was a very expensive Airbnb. It was kind of my way of treating myself. And my aunt, she had a landmark birthday. She turned 60.
Oh,
So we like celebrated our birthdays. Her birthday was in May, mine was in August, but we still collaborated and celebrated our birthdays. She came out, and I took a vacation from van life. So um, it's been an amazing experience, and I loved it. I love it. I love it.
yes, you do love it because you talk about it all the time. You are
Yes.
like, you're the Black woman ambassador for van life. So I'm glad that we can
Yes.
talk today. Another common theme that I've seen with these interviews so far
Mhm.
is having letting your community support you. So you talked about somebody who didn't get it, but there are people who support you, I think. So tell us about the winter room. Is your winter room just a
Yes.
place where you go and stay with family sometimes?
Yeah. So I only in the winter. So like this room, I come back here, even though I'm like you, I'm team boycott winter. But
Uh-huh.
when I am home, this is my family is supportive. This is my cousin's house, and matter of fact, she owns an Airbnb and some rental property and stuff. So she's always invited me. Say, hey, whenever you come back to Ohio, which is my home state, this room is always open to me, and it's always been there for me. So as far as community. Community is very important. I will say I would give thanks to you because I saw you one time on this video, and I heard this lady speaking, and I was like, and YouTube was playing and it was you. And so just from your community, I've met so many wonderful people, even being in your co-working group, the Patreon group. I've met so many wonderful people. And even though we have different paths that we travel, like a lot of people, they're going out of the country, they're getting ready to move abroad or things like that. But we still have a lot in common as far as our desire to like do something different, like not just do the same,
Right,
do what we've always done to get what we've always gotten. A
right.
lot of us are, if we're not 50, we're at that age where life is talking to us. Life is saying, hey, don't you want to shake up your life, add a little spice and excitement? And so that's the community that I found that I've been sticking with. Also, the van community, even though, like I said, I'm kind of in that weird space where I'm a nomad, but I also hang with van dwellers. I go to like BLM land, which is Bureau of Land Management, and I hang out with the van dwellers. And I also hang out with just travelers in general. I'm in
Yeah.
several traveler groups. So I hope that answers the question.
You did that did. Yeah, there's not one way to do things. You don't have to follow
Yeah.
someone's direct path to learn from them and to take it in and make it your own, right?
Yes,
So you
definitely.
you do nomadic living your way with the van, with Airbnbs, with this, with that, with your winter room.
Yes, my winter.
And yes. And you let your community support you. You let the people are you who you're in community with actually exercise that. So
Yes, absolutely. Talking about my dreams and just people who are dreamers, who are having free spirit. It's so good being in a community of people who they're not like it's not. your way, my way, or your way. It's like, okay, you want this lifestyle, and my lifestyle is more straightforward. Like I have a lot of family members that are like, they go to work, they
Right.
do this, and there's nothing wrong with that lifestyle. But it's just when I got to be an age where I didn't have to live that lifestyle anymore, I just decided to do me. And I've always been a free spirit. My mom said I never colored in the line. So I've always kind of been that person that did dance to the beat of my own drum or whatever. So I've always kind of been a nomadic free spirit.
I was going to ask you that because I see like that's how I would describe you today, a free spirit. I was going to ask you if that's always been the case. Do you think so that does that mean then that would explain a little bit about why people weren't so shocked? Most of your
Yeah,
family friends weren't.
absolutely. Absolutely. I've always been a nomadic free spirit. And I think that's why they weren't shocked. I lived in Cal, people don't know, but I was in a screenwriting program and I lived in California. And I always just, and this is when my kids were young. So I've always just had this get up and go, explore, go for it. Even if you fail, if you succeed, but if you don't try, we know what the results are going to be. And so I'm better for every decision I've made, every traveling, every take off, everything I've done, I'm better for it. And there have been a lot of lessons, even with this van nomadic journey. It's not a perfect journey, but when on the days that it's good, it's really, really good. And it's just opened me up. And like I said, people, they spend a lot of money for therapy and all that. And I just go off travel in nature. And I don't have to spend all the money. So it's been a great, yeah. And I've always been this way, for sure. Always been a nomadic, free spirit, don't color in the lines. Yeah, always been that way.
Do you think that you will, how much longer do you think you'll enjoy nomadic living?
So I for now I'll always I don't think it won't look the same. So I had something happen in my family and so it won't look like this. Like I think this is the chapter is closing out of this van journey. But I've been looking at a box truck. And then also, like I've always looked at tiny house living. And so I don't know, but I think the van life, maybe it's a box truck. I don't know what that next chapter holds, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the next chapter holds. But I always travel, always be a nomadic, but I don't know what the next chapter holds. I don't know.
Okay. I think that you sharing your story is super encouraging because what you told us was that you had a remote job, a cot, and a pot,
That's
right?
pretty much
Those,
right. Cotton pot. Yes.
and you've seen the country. You've
I've
seen
seen it. I'm from Wisconsin to Minnesota, California, Arizona. I fell in love with San Diego, just camping along the beach, just with friends. I mean, I had women my age come and we just stayed at the beach for a week. Imagine that. So, we're not old, we're seasoned. Seasoned women just camping along the beach. Young people, we're like doing the same thing. So, yeah, no age limit, and just meeting a lot of wonderful people in the community. And I'm better for it. I'm better for it.
it's so wonderful to see you as like one as the ambassador, as the Black woman
Thank you.
ambassador for
Thank
this
you. I
life.
like that.
Yeah,
I
that's how
wear that.
yeah.
I wear that. I receive that. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you. Because you do it with joy. Sometimes people do things and you're like, well, do you like it? Right?
Exactly.
Is this a punishment? Are you punishing yourself?
Exactly.
You do it with so
And I
much.
do it because I think if it's a choice, then like some people I know in this nomadic lifestyle, some people, with the cost of everything just skyrocketing. For some people, it's not a choice. And so that's where you may see the people who are unhappy. But if you have a wonderful family and support people who are supportive and you make that decision, it's easier for you because it's your choice. And you
Yes.
always know that if this doesn't work out, guess what? That's why it's called a leap. You don't have to take one leap. You can leap again, try something else, try something else. So I think that's why I have been happy for during my nomadic journey is because I found some people that support me and I've truly enjoyed it. And because I don't know, some people aren't in this life that I know they do seem unhappy, but I think that's because it was forced upon them and that makes the difference. If
Okay.
it's forced upon you or if you choose this lifestyle. So,
Okay. Yeah, we do need to exercise our choices. We do need to take agency over our lives to have
yes.
that peace and to have that joy. I know
Yes,
it's good.
absolutely.
So, Frankie, thank you for sharing your leap with us.
Thank
Introduce
you.
yourself. Introduce yourself.
So, my name is Frankie. I'm on a joy route, which means living my best life. I'm living my life 1 minute, 1 mile, one cup of light roasted coffee at a time. I am a writer. I've been writing for over 30 years. I have a YouTube channel, Joy Route. But and I'm living my best life. And the Joy Route simply means live your best life as best you can. So my life is not going to be your lifestyle. So that's who I am. I'm Frankie, a nomadic free spirit writer with a YouTube channel.
Yes, of course, I'm going to link to Frankie's YouTube channel in the description of this video.
Thank
You'll
you.
be able to follow her. She does share her journeys. She shares
Yes.
the good and the bad, right? The
Yes, definitely, definitely the highs and the lows, because it's not for the faint of heart. Any choice you make, there are going to be some good times, and there's going to be some challenging times. But just hold on to the best times, and you can just if I could bottle some of the best experiences I've had, I would. I would bottle them and give them away to all the unhappy people. I really would. So
Yeah. Do you want to share have you had like a favorite day or a favorite experience in the
yes,
phase of life?
I have had, let me tell you, San Diego has been by far my favorite. I spent the last 3 months before returning to Ohio in San Diego. And just the weather alone, the hills, the mountains, the views, every day that I drove around San Diego, it never did not occur to me. Like I was like, thank you, God. This was like, it's so beautiful. The weather, and I just, being out in San Diego, and it was just free. Like it's like I'm living in this van and it's so beautiful. I mean, like every day. Now, Ohio is beautiful, but San Diego has some of the best sunrises and sunsets. It would make you cry. So I went to this place called Sunset Cliffs, and amazing sunrises, amazing sunsets. I mean, just that San Diego has been by far the best places I've been, and by far, yes. So
Beautiful,
Sunset Cliffs in
beautiful.
San
Are you
Diego.
and um okay. I'm gonna cut
Oh,
this
I
stumbling.
forgot to mention camping with some people from your community. I met some people from your uh
Exodus Summit?
Exodus Summit.
Huh?
I met Jessica, Jessica, you
Yeah,
know Jessica. Met
Jessica.
Jessica. I met Regina. You might not. I
Yeah,
shouldn't
I
say
know
her name.
Regina.
You do, okay? Because I don't know if she used that name.
I'll bleep
But
her.
yeah, and I met Adrian. Yeah,
Yeah,
Adrian.
artist.
So
Mhm.
yeah, Adrian artist. I met a lot of people, and just even connecting with them through your network, your community of like we've met through
Yeah,
your stuff. And it's brought us together. And then, like I said, meeting someone in person was just like amazing. It's like your virtual sister friends is what I call them, virtual sister friends. And so you brought us together, and I'm better for it. We're better for it. Every chance I get, I tell people about this community and you and how you've brought us all together because I don't know how it would have happened.
I
I really
know.
don't. So I
I'm
really appreciate how you've brought everybody
that
together.
I take so much pride in that. Listen, sometimes you start a thing and you don't know what the benefit of it is. I think the benefit of it is one thing. I started the Patreon community. I thought the benefit of it was $25,000 at a time. We're going to give Black women money for sabbaticals. What I
Mm.
didn't know is that it was going to create a space for Black women to find
A
sister,
safe space. Absolutely. A
find
absolute safe space.
community, to love
Yes.
each
Oh, but
other.
I can't. Yeah, a safe space. But you have your book. You
Yeah.
did it. You did it. You know we have
Frankie,
to pre-order. Yes, I'm so proud of you.
thank you.
That's your big leap. I'm so proud of you. I remember talking to you about it and you did it. Because a lot of people, we have ideals, we have things we want to do, but we want to wait until everything is perfect or this is going to be this. But if you have to go for it, you have to make a decision. So congratulations. I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Thank
I'm here
you.
to support. I'm here.
Like Frankie, thank you. Like, please, bless you. Like Frankie told y'all, she's a writer. Frankie told me
Yes.
quite a while ago to sit down and write this book and
Yes.
quit messing around. Write this
Quit
book.
messing around. And you
So yeah,
did it.
I
You
did.
did it. You accomplished your goal. And that's huge. That's huge. So I'm
Thank
looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to reviewing it, right?
thank you.
I
Yes,
know
yes,
it's
yes.
everything you pour out. I know you've poured into the book, so I know it's going to be wonderful. So very
Thank
much
you.
looking forward to it. And
Thank
we're
you.
here for it. We're here for it. We're here to support you. We're your brand ambassadors, right?
I know.
We're gonna take you to the top, right?
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna
Thank
take you to the top. At least Wall Street Journal, maybe New York Times. We're gonna
Let's
take you to the top.
let's go. Okay,
Let's go.
wonderful. Yeah. So taking big leaps is scary and it's hard,
Absolutely.
but it's worth it.
Absolutely. Definitely worth it. It is hard. But the thing is, if you leap, if you fall, you can try again.
Right
So
again.
it's not over. Once you take that leap, have a plan B, a plan
But
C. Don't
I
just
think
take a
that
leap.
the problem is you have to be willing to, the problem isn't necessarily the failing and the trying again. The problem is everybody's going to see me fail.
Yeah,
Right? So
but
many people are afraid of other people seeing them fail, including me, right?
yeah,
Even
yeah.
that's one of the reasons I'm really have drug my feet on this book is I'm afraid of what if. That fear of other people seeing you fail
You
is
fail.
holding you back.
But what makes what I've what about people who never try? See, that's my thing. I am afraid when something, because you have a lot of projects. Me being a creative person, I have a
Yeah.
lot of projects out there, and some work, some don't. But I'm like, I'm proud of myself for trying. Because some people, they sit back, they know they're unhappy with doing the same thing. They've always wanted to do something, start a business or write a book. You know how many people I hear tell me, I want to write a book, I want to write a book,
Yeah.
or they want to do something, and for whatever reason, we are, I know I'm fearful just having a channel. It is not easy. I don't even like being on camera. I've never, when we come in your group, I always have my camera off. But I feel like the people who try, at least you try, because if you don't launch, you can't land, right? So if
Right.
you just sit there and say, hey, I want to start a cookie business, but you never did it. And if you fail, yeah, you'll fail in front of people. But what about you now? I think that's worse, to never have even given it a shot,
You're
to
right.
never even try. So I say go for it. Look, go for it. And it is scary. Of course it is. But
Mhm.
we seasoned women, hey, what's the worst could happen?
It's the
You
worst.
turn 50, all bets are off.
Okay.
Aren't you have a birthday coming up?
July.
Every
I'm
okay,
about to
July,
be in the club.
everything goes. It's like no more caring, no more giving to.
I'm
It's
ready.
everything. Yeah.
We're gonna end it on that, Frankie. Thank you
Yes.
so very much for coming in and
Thank
sharing.
you for having me. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.
You too. All right. Hey, Kira, tell us please about your leap.
My leap came at a time in my life that I think I was at my wit's end. My job was really causing a lot of stress. My health was beginning to fail. I did not have any energy for my children. I lost interest in just the basic things in life that gave me joy. So I was in an endless cycle, found myself sick in bed when I came across a video about the Exodus Summit. And that was in October of 2022. And from there, it just gave me the motivation to go after a goal and a dream that I told myself would happen in 10 years. But
Oh,
from October 2022, June 2023, I quit my corporate job, sold my house, 95% of my belongings, and relocated to Guadalajara, Mexico. So 9 months later, that's how determined I was to get off of the hamster wheel, save my life. People think it's drastic when I say that I was doing this to save my life, but it really was to save my life.
yes, right. I think there would be a time when people would have said, no, yeah, saying you're doing this to save your life is, she's exaggerating. But I think we're in a space right now in the world, especially Black women, where we're like, yeah, definitely. That did save your life. So I'm so proud of you for doing that.
Yes.
I want to talk about the 10-year plan. So you originally did have a 10-year, what was your original 10-year plan?
Well, my plan initially was to raise my children. I'm a mother of four that ranged from ages 12, soon to be 13 to 24. And so much of my life was dedicated to being mom. So I thought that this idea of me being a nomad and gallivanting around the world would come after I'd finished raising my children and spending 20 years at a corporate job.
Okay.
But that changed to, well, I'm going to do it when my youngest two get to high school. So I had a daughter when I was moving, was graduating from high school. She did the cosmetology track, was graduating with two associates. I was like, okay, good track. So before the youngest two go to high school, let me just go ahead and move. But they were reluctant to it, but for me, I knew I had to do it. So retirement turned to 10 years, me meeting with financial advisors, trimming a lot of the fat, and the 10 years turned to 6 years, which turned to 4 years, then turned to 9 months.
So accelerating this plan, speeding up this plan, does that mean, oh my gosh, everything was a mess. It worked out horribly. I made big mistakes. I regret this big leap.
I do not regret it. I do not. Are there some things that I would have done differently? Yes. However, with all of the research that I did in the risk, I think it was a calculated risk, right? But I also knew that if I stayed longer on the path that I was in, it was going to lead me down a path that, I dare not speak of. So I took a very calculated risk and I invested everything that I had into the move. So much so that I was like, you know what? I have this house. Being a homeowner, first off, was not in the cards for me. I did it multiple times thinking maybe the first house wasn't the right house, the first area wasn't let me move and do it again. When it really comes down to, I would much rather call the owner of the home to say, hey, your stuff is broken.
Yes.
So that was a huge stressor for me. So I just decided to allow that stress to bless me to be able to pay for my move. So that's what I did. I sold my house and it paid for everything and gave me an opportunity to take off almost a year of working and finance everything that I needed to finance, pay off a lot of my bills, and just being able to relax and let my hair down.
Yes, girl, yes. So I get to follow Kira on Instagram, and so we're going to link to her platforms in the description of this video. I get to follow you on Instagram. I got to know you after the leap, right? After I probably were already in Guadalajara before you officially announced it on Instagram and tagged me. Thank you so much for that, so I could follow along. But I didn't know the before you. Okay. So people say that to me all the time. You seem like you've always been this person. You seem to me like you've always been this relaxed, laid back, glowing person that we see in front of us. How did this leap change you?
I have been highly ambitious, right? On the train of Black excellence. I'm a preacher's kid, so putting on the persona of perceived happiness. But I also say that I was like a swan, right? You see the beauty on the outside, but I was paddling like hell underneath to stay afloat. And that is what I needed to align. So what people were seeing outwardly in terms of my successes and me just carving out the life that I wanted that ease and relaxation and happiness to really just resonate throughout. And I knew that I could not do it on the route that I was, being the homeowner, being a part of all of the activities on the board of professional organizations, running after all of the degrees, chasing, the hierarchy in corporate America. It was killing me. So outwardly, people saw a lot of the success, but what they were not seeing was that I was exhausted and I literally came home and got in bed.
Yeah.
Right. So it looked good for the gram. It
Yeah.
did. The pictures, the travels, the accolades, the degrees, the cars, the house, it looked good, but it was slowly killing me to keep that up. And it took a lot for me to just sit back. It took sheltering in place. 2020 was my silver lining. It took sheltering in place for me to zoom out to realize none of that made me happy. I was happiest when I was able to enjoy a cup of tea on my back porch in the morning,
Right.
being able to water my plants and being able to be a more present, emotionally, mentally, and physically available parent.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Those were the things that gave me the most joy. And every year I keep what's called a joy jar where I write down the things that give me joy. And when I was going back to reflect on it, none of it were the accomplishments. It
Right.
was the physical things. It
Your
was
job, your job wasn't in that jar anyway.
it wasn't. It wasn't. Um, it was me deciding to shave my head to save money
Yes.
and
Yes.
not cover up stuff
Uh-huh.
and getting in the swimming pool and taking the first dip under the water.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
It was like, okay, I don't have to worry. I just get to rinse this off and go about my business. It was like the small things. So a part of my leap was saying, how do I design a life around all of the small things that give me joy? And the more of those small things that give me joy will ultimately create my life of ease.
Yes, yes. We are talking to a couple of different women who have children and who took a leap with their children, with their school-aged kids. Now, you've talked about this more on your own channel, so I'll direct people to your own channel. But can you just tell us what what has this done for your school-aged kids? Seeing you show up as a better parent and just being in a better country, like going to Mexico and being in a better space for a period of time, what has it done for them?
Initially, they were on board. A lot of my scouting and research, I asked them to give me a list, and boy, did they give me a copious list
Did
of
they?
everything that they wanted to make the move a soft landing for them. And when I arrived in Guadalajara, I scouted everything out to make sure that I would be able to give them all their luxuries. They came in, and it was a bit of a cultural shock for them. And they tried it for a bit. But ultimately, they decided that they wanted their joy going to school in the States and coming back in chunks of time. And being, I guess, one that prided myself in giving identity of mom, that was one of the biggest decisions for me, one that I did not necessarily prepare for, to say, you know what? The kids have two parents for a reason. It doesn't make me a bad mother because my children are unhappy and wanting to go to the school in the States and spend holidays, summers, and vacations with me to explore the world. That doesn't make me a bad mother. That makes me a more effective mother.
That's
It
right.
makes me a mother that teaches my children how to prioritize themselves so that they can show up wholly for others. And I talk to them all the time and I'm like, are you happy? And they're like, yeah, I'm having a blast. And I'm like, are you sure? Like, are you hearing what's going on? But they are happy with it, but they also are very happy when they do come. My 13-year-old, she told me, she was like, I can't wait to come back to Mexico. I'm actually missing it a little bit.
Yeah.
So that gives me joy, and hope that they will have the courage to follow their dreams and live that out. And if they want to come, the door's here. If not, you can continue to school in the States. I'm okay with that.
That's right. Your family. So not only did this give you a new approach, right? A new way to approach living and working, but it also gave your family a new way to design your family. Some
Mhm.
we just in family in particular is a space in our lives where we just do what everybody else does. Right? Our families look like everybody else's family, no matter how much that works or does not work for those particular individuals. So being able to step away from what everybody says you should do in your life in one area, right? Or in a couple in the living and working space also helped you all to redesign or design for the first time, really, what your family would look like for based on what everybody needed. Yeah, it's
Yes.
contagious.
And for me, what I found is I was skipping my children past a lot of steps that they needed to experience for themselves.
Mm,
So in a way, this has empowered them to be forward thinkers, more critical thinkers, and given them an opportunity to actually implement a lot of the tools and resources that I gave them. I gave my children a strong, solid foundation. So to have conversations with them now, especially with my 18-year-old and the decisions that she's making and the way that she's designing her life, lets me know that I made the right decision and I did the right thing. And they send me messages all the time to say, I met so and so, and oh my gosh, I just want to say thank you for being the type of mom that you were.
ah,
Or I saw this situation and I knew that that wasn't a decision for me, and I was able to speak up for myself. So it did allow me to say, I am a more present, focused mother. Um, and they are able to see me not only talk the talk, but walk the walk.
yes, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Kira, for talking to us about your big leap. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Kira. I am the creator of Designing Ease, where it's all about doing what you want, when you want, and how you want to do it. You can find me on all platforms at Designing Ease. Thank you so much, Stephanie.
Thank Thank you so much. I'm so glad. So thank you for, like I said, thank you for posting and sharing this in Instagram to begin with. A lot of people, a lot of Black women, because they're afraid of the judgment of other people, right? The eyeballs of other people, when we do take a big leap, we keep it so under wraps that the next person doesn't know that this is even a possibility. So I appreciate you so much for sharing, for sharing and for being so out in the open about everything. And I also just love seeing your beautiful smile all the time on the on Insta. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
I hope I'll get to see you sometime in the real world.
Yes, I'm sure it's coming soon.
Soon, soon. Okay. So Mar, you took a big leap. Tell us what it was.
In at the end of 2018, having arrived, and having been struggling for over a year to pay my monthly bills with my wellness business, I was terrified of homelessness, like most people, you know? So I was scrambling to try and keep my house, keep my lifestyle, the only way that I knew how to survive.
Yeah.
And along this path in 2017, my intuition opened up, which means that I had more of a direct communication from my intuitions to guide me. And so I had been asking, you know, like, what do I need to do for my business? And I was following everything that my intuition was guiding me, going to the mentorship sessions, the business planning sessions, the network, you know, I was doing all of that.
Yeah.
And then towards the end of 2018, I said, I think it was like September, I said, please tell me, is it over? Do I let go? I mean, I'm not going to be able to keep my house. What am I going to do? And so I had to trust the guidance within myself. And I started giving away and selling my things. My son came from college and helped me to pack up everything to sell. And I had been guided to get a tent. I had gotten a tent. And so my big leap was packing up that house and having my belongings in plastic containers in my car, because my plan was that I would, you know, be living in a tent or living in my car. I had, yeah, and I just had to let go. I just had to let go.
How did you know that the intuition, right, that was guiding you, how did you know that that was intuition that you wanted to follow, as opposed to like fear or scarcity mindset? How did you know to
Oh,
follow that particular message that was
yeah.
coming to you?
Oh my, I had to, so many humans are so terrified by homelessness, right? So terrified by not having a job income, so tied with the idea that in order to survive, I have to work, and I need a place to stay. I need to be able to survive. And so I had to actually had the experience of feeling my fears. I had to allow myself to go to bed at night crying because I was so afraid.
Okay.
And so I knew what fear was moving me towards. And that's what fear was trying to keep doing for a whole year,
Okay.
until I just finally just let go and realized that everything that I have tried, it's not taking me in that direction. So maybe I'm just supposed to let go and allow energy, allow God to just guide the journey, to surrender. Tabitha Brown talked about that in the Exodus Summit. I'd never heard her story before, but she speaks of it in a different way. She is more Christian church centered,
Right.
but it's really the same thing. I had tried everything, and I just said, okay, I'm just going to let go. I'm going to trust that life is actually supporting me. Even though capitalism says life isn't supporting me,
Yeah.
white supremacy says that life isn't supporting me.
Yeah.
That my income was dependent on people. And so I had to show up in a certain way. I couldn't be authentically myself.
Mhm.
Nobody wants to hire me being authentically myself. That was the education. And I had to be willing to have all of that surrendered, let go, just go, okay, that's it.
So this was 2018. What happened? You
Yeah,
moved into your car
yeah.
and what happened?
I had a girlfriend that had been living home free, and she was in town, and she helped me the first couple of days. I came and I stayed and I put up my tent on a piece of land that she had her camper on.
Okay.
It was November of 2018 in Asheville, North Carolina. So it was getting cold.
Okay.
Um, After a few weeks of doing that, oh yes, and I had this experience when I was camping. It's cold. I'm in my comforter and I'm in a tent with my dog. I'm 55, 56 years old. And I realized that this was the thing that I'd been running from, was failure, a sense of being a failure. I am an utter failure. I cannot keep up with this world and how they want me to act. And I failed. And so I cried like really deep, purging tears. And I realized, okay, I have now hit the basest fear that I could ever fear of homelessness. I'm out in this tent. I'm living anyway. Fear of being a failure. Okay, I'm here. I'm clear. I'm purged. What do I do now? And I had girlfriends that helped me. So they would take, I'd say, partial custody of me.
Okay.
So I would stay with one for a week, and then I'd rotate to the other one for a week because it was so cold in November and December in Asheville. And then my car was my next place that I could live, my fail-safe to live in. Well, in December, somebody drove out in the middle of the road and I totaled my car. So I was like, okay, I've done all of this, gone through all of this for this whole year. I'm tenting, the car was my thing, and now I don't even have transportation. And so I had to leave and learn that I didn't need a car, that I was still being supported even with that. And so some friends took care of me. And then in January, when the settlement from the car accident came, Spirit guided me to go to India. One of the things, there were two things that I said to Spirit. Okay, I will not give up proximity with my son, and I will not give up my dog. Whatever it is that you want to do with the rest of my life, you have it. So what's the first thing that Spirit guides me to do? Go to India on a one-way ticket. I didn't even know when I was supposed to come back. And I'm like, I told you I don't want to leave my son. I don't want to be, he was in the same state as me. Yeah. I'm like, okay, this is what you want from me. So I went to India for 3 months. Someone had gifted me a drum. Someone had gifted me a flute. I started just following my intuition, and my intuition taught me how to play this flute and how to play this drum, and sound started coming from me. And after my 3 months in India, I came back and I was living in a tent for 2 years. I just thought, okay, you sent me to India. It's all over now. Now you're going to get me a house and I'll get a job and I'll go back to life as usual and I'll be more successful than I was before, right? No, 2 years in a tent. And so much conditioning had to be emptied from me. Okay. The conditioning of feeling worthless because I was poor. Right. I had to go on food stamps. I'd never been on food stamps before. I judged myself for being on food stamps. I felt other people would judge me if I was on food stamps. So I didn't share that I was on food stamps. I would have things like the first time I went to the grocery store and I had to use the food stamp. I was so terrified that somebody would hold up the card and go, "Hey, she's on food stamps." So so because that was my greatest fear, do you know the cashier got stuck? She couldn't figure out how to do food stamps and cash. So she had to call out to the manager. Excuse me, I need assistance. She's got food stamps, but she's going to use cash as well. There was a whole line of people in cashier.
Uh-huh.
And so I had to let go of that conditioning. So many things that we judge ourselves for, I just kept being put into this training of letting it go and letting it go and letting it go. I had to let go of this distrust of life, that
Yeah.
life wouldn't support me, that it, that somehow if my mind couldn't think up an answer, then I was lost.
Uh-huh.
That's how I thought, because that's what we're trained. We're trained to, I got to think my way out of this problem. I got to think my way out of this problem. And if I can't think my way out of it, then there is no solution.
Right.
Versus what the truth is that your intuition is your God connection, that there is nothing that is not solvable if you just surrender and trust yourself.
So can I ask you, your community, your friends helped support you, which is a
Yes.
lesson that I'm trying to learn, right? How to be
Right.
supported, how to not be the one who does it. We're all learning, Black women all need, this is a thing we're all
Yeah.
working on. I don't think it's
Yeah.
shocking for me to say this is a thing I'm working on. Black women
Yeah.
have the same question, I think. What
Yeah.
happened to those relationships? Was there resentment because your community because your community came in and did some supporting of you, letting you stay with them on and off, and did those
Oh,
relationships
I
make it?
had to learn how to receive.
Right.
I didn't know how to receive. I, like many people, felt more comfortable in the giving role because it felt like I was more in charge
Mm-hmm.
than I was in the receiving role. And
Mm-hmm.
so that basically had to be beaten out of me, where continually I had to be at a point where I go, okay, I can't do it without myself, because that's the training.
Yeah.
We aren't encouraged to ask for help when we need help. We
Yeah.
usually ask for help when we're desperate.
Yeah.
Like even when I went to apply for food stamps, I should have gone there 3 months before.
Mm-hmm.
But I kept thinking, no, I can do something. Something will happen. I won't need this. I used to, with my friends, I would try to avoid asking for any assistance from them.
Yeah.
And I had to be untrained from that. I had to learn that my giving alone was not sustainable.
Right.
I had to learn how to receive, and I had to learn to undo all of those things that we are conditioned about.
Yeah.
Like that poverty is some sin
Uh-huh.
and some crime. That not having a home means that you don't deserve, or you're just on the edges of society. You're not trying hard enough. If you just try more,
Yes.
and so I had to. It had to be unlearned out of me.
Okay.
Yeah.
But are
Yeah.
those friends still friends?
Yes, I had, my thing is, like many women, it's been difficult. Well, you don't have that experience, and I love that you don't have that experience.
Yeah.
And I love that you've always been supported and that you've always been in the midst. And that in these 3 years of listening to you, I have taken in that medicine of that possibility. And I was very fortunate that Spirit started bringing me really close, genuine friendships when I was 55 years old. Because I could, at that point, I could show up genuinely.
Yes.
I could show up more genuinely. So my crew could show up more genuinely.
Yes.
And these women are still my friends today. They're still people that I text with on a weekly basis, because these are also women that were intuitive like me. So when I was going through phases where I thought, am I crazy? Have I lost my right mind listening to this voice in my head? Look at me in this tent. Look what you've done with yourself. You followed your way all the way into this damn tent. You must have made some big mistake.
Mm.
But it wasn't a big mistake. It was the process of getting rid of all the stuff that was untrue.
Yes.
all the conditioning and the mindsets and belief systems that were really untrue, you know?
Yes.
And yeah,
So would you say your big leap has helped you become yourself?
yeah, definitely. I know myself today in a way that I have never known in my life. My intuition is greater than it ever was. I trust my own voice. I don't often counsel other people on what to do because my intuition is so clear, and I don't make a move or a decision until that clarity is there.
Yes.
So being willing to be through that phase of, okay, I'm not getting any ideas on what to do. I'm getting no instruction. Oh, so I guess I'm not supposed to do anything. And just being in the uncomfortableness of, no, there's no direction as yet. And wait, are you willing to wait for that? And I became willing to wait every single time, because acting before, it just didn't feel right. It didn't resonate. I couldn't act from desperation any longer.
So
Yeah.
now you feel like you're able to operate in flow instead of in struggle
Whoa.
because you're tapped into the divine and you're
Yes.
hearing the real
Yes.
like instructions, the real word,
Yes.
and
Yes.
not what everyone else has to say about the situation.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Okay, good.
Other people's opinion does not matter as much as mine.
Yes.
My guidance is the most important. This was over any of my relationships with my family members, even my son.
Yeah.
If my son had told me, Mom, I think you're losing your right mind and you probably might need some hospitalization and maybe some medication, I would have looked at him and gone, thank you very much for your opinion, but all is well.
Okay.
I'm getting the guidance that as much as it looks chaotic on the outside, that all is well. Everything is happening for my highest.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, please introduce yourself. Let us know. Let us know who you are. Please take a second. Let us know who you are, where you are today. Yeah.
Yeah. My name is Mar. That's the name that I go by now. I'm currently in the Cayman Islands. This is a place where I grew up. One of the places that I grew up, was born in Jamaica, and I was raised in the Cayman Islands, and my family moved to Bermuda in 1970, and then they moved to the US in 1975. So I lived in the United States off and on since 1975. Introduce myself. I'm hesitant to use a title because I don't have a title. I'm just a free person living a free life, you know? I've realized that you can be financially independent with 20 cents in your bank account. Your financial independence does not depend on the amount of money that you have. It is the sense of independence that you have from believing that your source is other people. Yeah. Your source is your God within you. That's your source. That's your first primary bank account that you should be working on.
Now, the Cayman Islands is probably an easier place to be living in a car and in a tent than North Carolina. But is
Right.
this still how you live your life today?
No, I have had so many opportunities. When I was in North Carolina, after 2 years in the tent, some friends told me about a grant that the city of Asheville was giving for people who had done social justice work in the community. And so I applied for that grant because I had done some social justice work. And I believe the amount that they gifted me was like $1,500. And with that $1,500, Spirit had guided me to check out friends in Panama and in Costa Rica to see if there was an opportunity there for me. The very same day, because at that time I was on Facebook. So when I was needing a new property to go to, I would go on Facebook and I'd go, okay, this is my situation. If you feel called, if your intuition calls that you would like my presence on your property, then do that. But don't feel sorry for me. Don't be thinking that, because if you feel sorry for me and you invite me there, then you'll resent me after a while. Because then you'll feel like you're responsible for me. That's not a favor for me. Don't be feeling sorry for me. Follow your intuition. And the same day that I put out the Facebook post on asking about my friends in Panama and Costa Rica, a friend of mine had been talking to somebody in Costa Rica that same day, and they had a work exchange program. So what happens? I have an interview with her. I'm in Costa Rica 2 months later doing work exchange. I go to Playa Pelada. They have a property on Playa Pelada on the Pacific side.
Okay.
So I did work exchange, living in my tent, cleaning like the bathrooms, really doing humble work. And that was also part of my training, to let go of this sense of status, of what my title is and what I drive and the work that I do. And if I do cleaning bathrooms, then that means I'm less than as a person. I had to go through and clear all of that conditioning. Okay. And then after my 3 months in Playa Pelada, Spirit guided me to Puerto Viejo. And so I went to Puerto Viejo and I was there for 10 months. It was glorious. And then guidance took me to Panama, and then guidance brought me here. And all the time, the money showing up when it needed to for me to get from where I needed to go to where I needed to go next. Yeah. I don't know if I answered your question. Did I answer your question?
You did. Yes. So I have also been a person who has been unattached to housing. I could always come back to my parents' house where I am today. But as a person who house sat, who stayed in hostels, I understand a little bit about the idea that other people will see you in a different way. Right? When you no longer have your own place and you're now, relying on the kindness of other people,
Yes.
and, just being out there, you do have to be able to let go of what other people's expectations are for you. And that's, I think, one of the biggest lessons that I've learned in my life. So I appreciate you coming in and reiterating this lesson with us. When you said, I am a free person, I wrote that,
Yeah.
underlined it. Okay, let me add some exclamation points on here. Okay, that is
Yeah.
how we introduce ourselves. Thank you for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am
So
a free person. Yes.
thank you so much
Yeah.
for introducing us to the idea of letting our community support us, one, and also to the idea of surrendering to the fears, surrendering to the things that we're so super afraid of, that we're working and extending all of our energy to avoid. Thank you
Yes.
for introducing us
Yes.
to the surrender.
Yes. Yes. Surrender to the fear. Feel it. Feel it, because in the feeling of it, you're going to piece through all those conditionings that you've been taught that are really lies. They've just been made up.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, we have been so duped. I want to use the F word now,
You can,
I
go ahead.
really do, because we've been so duped. This idea of other people's opinions of us being more important than our opinion of ourselves. The idea of, it's another form, it's a new modern form of slavery. And I cannot believe that I did not see that, but I couldn't see it because I was in the system itself.
That's
I
right.
was swimming in the water and not being able to decipher what was water. If you'd asked me about water, I was like, what water? What water are you talking about? Because I was so immersed in that way of thinking.
For a lot of us, it's the idea that our lives are supposed to be dedicated to making money.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's a thing that is so understood that we really don't question why, and is there another way? We don't even think about, like, oh, is there a way would it be possible to live without dedicating my life to making money? And am I willing to try it? Am I willing to step in?
That's what your channel has done for me, and that I appreciate so much, is that when you introduced house sitting, I was like, what? House sitting? Really? Oh, okay, that could be another way. You opened up a window of something to go, there are other ways to live. We don't have to live the cookie cutter form that other people are. We may have a desire for much more than that.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay. Mar, I can edit this part out if you want me to.
Yeah.
Are you still doing coaching?
Am I still doing coaching? I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay.
I wait for spirit to guide me. I'm open to doing healing work.
Okay.
And I saw in spirit, when I started moving towards getting a title of being a healer, spirit was like, that's not what we do now. We ain't a title. We're not a business. You're
Okay.
just going to live. And so for those people who want to interact and work with me, work with my sound and do private sessions with me, I show up, but I don't do any advertising. Yeah, I'm just trusting, complete trust in guidance. That's what I move from.
So a woman who's watching right now, who is every piece of her body is saying, she's the one, contact her, right? Let her, at least I want to talk to her. Maybe she's the one was a little aggressive, but like, I really want to talk to her, right? You know that feeling like, oh,
Yes.
this whole thing, this whole video, this whole channel exists for me to meet Mar, right? How does that person meet you or get in touch with you?
Oh, you can get in touch with me through Instagram. 60 Solo Black Mystic Traveler is that you call that tagline? Is that what you call it?
Handle. We call it a
Handle.
Okay.
Yes, yes. They can reach me through Instagram. I share on Instagram on my journey. I share on, I am so grateful for all the communities that have sustained me. There's so many that I know I would forget. To attempt to name all of the communities that have supported me along the way.
Yeah.
For someone who didn't know how to receive.
Mm-hmm.
For me who didn't know how to receive. And I received so much.
Thank you so much. Someone today is receiving this from you, is receiving what you have to share with her today. Of course, friends, I'm going to link to Mar's Instagram in the description of this video. So go down there and you'll find her Instagram handle. Reach out to her. Let her know what this has done for you. Thank you so much, Mar. I'm so glad that we got to talk. Thank you so much.
Oh, I am so glad I got an opportunity to share with you how important you've been in this journey. I am beyond excited for the movement that you and Rashida have created to give an alternative view on how you can live your life, especially for Black women, that we have been the workhorses.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And it's time for us to be able to receive. It
Yes.
really is time for us to receive.
Yes, to receiving, to free people, to financial independence. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. One of the important things that was reinforced to me in the Exodus Summit with Dr. Joy Harden Bradford,
Mm-hmm.
and she was talking about how she went on a trip, and it was a guided trip, and she had asked a guide, like, why aren't you dancing with people, whatever, and the guide had said, they come with their trauma. And I was like, yes.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not addressing the ancestral trauma, your own personal trauma, you will take it with you. Yes, there is some conditioning that you will leave behind, but then you will hang on to the other stuff if you're not working on it on a conscious level. And that is an important part of this journey as well, too, is dealing with your trauma. Yeah.
So important. We are afraid, right? We get afraid of what's going to happen, what's going to come up. But on the other side of it, there's peace.
Freedom, absolute freedom. I ran from my childhood trauma for so long. Sexual abuse. There were hardly anybody, like the Oprah was the first person I'd ever heard talk about it openly. And I was in my 20s. And so she was the seed to help me understand that this was something for healing, you know?
Yes.
And that's the message I want to give, is that you can be healed. You can heal your trauma. You can come to a place of peace with that, so that you are no longer conditioned by fear or being controlled by society or other people and their opinion of it.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Brian, thank you
Oh,
so much.
I'm so proud of the work that you're doing, and I thank you so much. And I want to do that adventure like you. I still have to, I want to grow up and be like you in the sense of going to Thailand and going to South Africa and not having a plan and going by myself and seeing who I meet. That's the adventure I still have yet to do.
I think you've done it. You went to India. Did you enjoy India?
Oh, yes. It was hard. It was an initiation. Mother India is an initiation.
Yeah.
I had the initiation of parasites. I had the initiation of pollution, of so many people in a crowded space.
Yeah.
But it was also the place that I cried when I left. I didn't want to leave when I left. So, yeah.
Okay. Wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful. Yeah, so you've done it, right? You've done what you are doing is what I mean to say. You're doing it.
Thank you, thank you. And I will continue to check in on your community and say, this is where I am now. This is where
Yeah.
I am now.
Please
Yeah.
keep us posted. Absolutely. People, listen, people are going to be asking me about you for the rest of my life. Okay, so please keep us posted. I promise you. I promise. As soon as this video goes up, that's who they're going to ask me about you're who they're going to ask me about forever and ever. So you have to keep me posted. Welcome, Adelia. Tell us about your big leap.
The big leap for me was leaving my 9-to-5 job, kind of for real back in 2020. I had been working in K-12 education for probably like 23, 24 years. And I decided that I wanted to do work where I could make a difference. I didn't feel like I was making a difference in that space anymore. And so I decided to leave. I wasn't completely sure on the direction I would go, but I knew two things. I needed it to be fulfilling. I wanted to make a difference, and I knew it had to be something to help women, particularly Black women.
So when you decided that you were going to leave teaching for good, that you were going to do some work that was fulfilling, that was helpful to Black women, did you know exactly what you were going to do when you left, or did you like feel it out? I'm acting like I don't know you in case you can't tell. Okay, I'm a professional interviewer. Thank you.
Definitely feel it out. I can recall, this is a long time ago, back when I was on the dating apps, and one of the questions was like, what was your dream job?
Oh.
And my response to that all those years ago was, I don't know. It's probably something I'll have to create, but I know I want to make a difference. And that is what ended up happening. I had to create it. I didn't know exactly what it was going to look like. So it was a little bit of trial and error and feeling things out.
Yeah. So that's been a common theme so far with the women I've gotten to talk to, right? Nobody's path is right for you, right? No, but there's no path out there that you can just say, I'm unhappy with the way things are going now. I'm just going to do what she's doing. It's not going to work out for you. You're going to have to curate the life that you want, design it. What do you use a word like that? I'm playing around.
I do. Because I had to create this life that I have. There was no model for this.
No.
I don't know that there still is even. And my life, I think, wouldn't fit for a lot of folks.
That's right.
But it is the right one for me.
That's right. This is not fulfilling. This work that I'm doing is not fulfilling. What did that look like for you?
Well, before I moved abroad, when I was teaching in public schools in the States, it was just exhaustion, stress, and anxiety kind of all rolled up into one.
Yeah.
I got into teaching because I love to teach, because the content, my subject matter that I specialize in is one that I thought, folks growing up and becoming the people that they were going to become, this would be a good background so they could go out and change the world. And a lot of the administrative piece of education got in the way of that. It
Oh,
was like, yeah, they should learn this, but this is on the state test.
okay.
And like that didn't sit right with me. And I think that it took a toll on me after 19 years. I continued to teach after I moved abroad, thinking, a lot of us do this when we're burned out. We think if you change the environment,
Yeah.
uh, it's that things will be better, and they weren't.
Okay.
Much of the same, much of the same existed elsewhere.
Mhm. When you say elsewhere, so Adelia taught in Honduras, taught in Kuwait, taught in China, right? So that's a
Yeah.
lot of looking around to make it fit, make this thing fit that just wasn't going to fit anymore, not anymore. All right. And so so now you are doing work that is fulfilling and that is helping Black women. You're doing coaching in the world. Was the leap worth it? Is it giving what you thought it was going to give?
Absolutely. It was so worth it. In it's very hard for me to even capture all of the ways in which it was worth it. I am doing work now that makes a difference. I am doing work that I find personally fulfilling, but there's like this added piece in because I am doing this work and I'm working for myself, I'm able to kind of create a lifestyle that allows me to travel, allows me to, I want to say, be leisurely. You know, when I taught in the States, school started at 7:30. So I lived an hour away. So what time am I getting up to get my kids ready, to get everybody fed, to get folks off where they're supposed to be? I got to get to work early enough, to make copies and do all of that. So I am enjoying this leisurely life.
People would be surprised, I think, how much of your life work is taking over and how much of your life you get back when you give up, when you give up on that kind of life. Even though entrepreneurship is not easy, entrepreneurship requires a lot of time. There's tears, right? There's frustration. There's unsteady payments, unsteady paychecks, right? We do get to, because we've chosen to do entrepreneurship our way, we do get to have a full life, right? Which is something that we don't know we're missing until we get it.
Until we get it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So you took this amazing leap. You went from a job that a lot of people would say, don't give up, right? In a career, 24 years in a career, in a field that a lot of people would say, don't give up on, to start something new, unpredictable, that you had to put together yourself, that didn't exist. You couldn't just jump into another role that didn't exist. Do you feel like there is the leap do you feel like there was something you would have changed about the leap, right? About the actual exit from teaching, if you knew then what you know now, whether it's the timing or the way you did it, preparing ahead of time for your other business or not preparing your other business ahead of time?
I think the only thing I probably would have done differently is done a bit more work to understand what it means to work for yourself.
Ah,
Leaving the job, preparing for that, like not having a steady paycheck, all of that I was ready for. But I often joke I'm a bad capitalist. I am not entrepreneurial by nature. I know there are some people from the day they are born, they can think of all kinds of ways to make money and how to improve things. I am not that person.
yeah.
And so because I'm not inclined that way, it would have been a lot better had I done a little bit more work to that end.
Okay.
But outside of that, I think the timing was I don't look back at the timing and think like, oh, I should have done it later or I should have waited. I think timing was what it was supposed to be.
Good, good. So you said that you would have done some prep on running your own business ahead of time. Would you also maybe have done some prep of the other people in your life to to help them understand this leap? Was there any pushback, any grumblings from people in your life when you said, I'm leaving this field and I'm going to do something new?
Not the people that count. Um, I think, and probably because I'd already made very big changes in my life before that, in the years running up to it. So it was kind of like, whatever. I think after I took a year off from work, after I worked in Honduras before I moved to Kuwait. I took a year off, and I think that was probably much more of a shock to the system for other people than me leaving my job.
Because
I think it's like, well, what do you mean you're not going to work for? And at the time, I didn't know it was going to be a year. I was kind of like, oh no, I'm just not going to work. I think, particularly for us as Black women, the idea of you're not going to continue to progress in this career that you've chosen, and you're just going to take off and hang out with your dog, like that does not sound like a plan. But that was my plan. I think that was far more controversial. Because after I did that, I don't think anything I do at this point shocks anybody.
yeah, yeah, I think quite a few of us are kind of looked at some point as though maybe we're losing our minds. But
Oh,
but you have to know, you just have to be confident that you're moving in the direction of the things that you want for yourself. And maybe, people won't understand yet.
I
Yeah.
agree.
So you said you've made a lot of leaps. That's what I thought about when you raised your hand and said, I'll talk. I was like, no, which leap is she going to talk about? Okay. Because
I low key made a list. I was like, well, depending which one she wants to talk about. But yeah, the last, I guess it's 9 years, uh, have been chocked full of big jumps, big leaps, like doing things I had never imagined I would do previously.
do you want to share the list with us? Or like,
Sure.
seriously, read them off to us, friend.
Okay. Well, I got a divorce. I left a 20-year marriage, give or take a few weeks. Um, I mentioned leaving K-12. I moved abroad to what was at the time the murder capital of the world with my 15-year-old in tow. That's a pretty big leap. I started my own business. Like, there's probably some more in there that I'm not thinking about, but it's been a lot.
It's it's been a lot, and they have all gotten you to where you are today, which, according to the way you look, is a great place. Okay, you look so peaceful, you look so at ease, you're glowing, even though this is moving day for you. Thanks for fitting me in. Things look really good in your life, and so I'm glad that you can share your leap experiences and let us know that it's worth it. The fear, the uncertainty, the change, the constant change is worthwhile. It pays off.
The uncertainty. I don't want anybody to hear me talk and think that I was certain about any of these choices. I was recently talking to somebody and she was like, so you left teaching and blah blah blah. I was like, the job was getting in the way of the life I wanted to live. So I had to get rid of the job. And she kind of looked at me taken aback. But for me, I didn't have everything else figured out after that. I just knew this was not the life that I needed to be living. And so I needed to change something.
That's right. The leap muscles in you are strong. They're activated, right? You've activated those muscles from
Oh, yeah, now.
repetitive use now. Now, that's the important part, right? Now. That's right. Thank you so much, Adelia, for coming in and sharing with us your big leap. Now, please introduce yourself.
My name is Adelia Aborishade. I'm a financial educator, podcast host, retreat host, with the goal of helping Black women live the life of their dreams. And I do everything I can to help make that happen.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. I'm linking to all of Adelia's stuff in the description of this video. I'm going to link to her podcast and to her YouTube channel. I'm also going to link to her retreat, which I attended last year. I recommend to you. And Adelia also is a financial confidence coach for Black women. So we're going to link to a free resource that she wants to give you in the description of this video. All right. Thanks, Adelia.
Thank you.
With Katrina, tell us about your leap.
In a nutshell, it was about timing for me. So when I look back over the course of my life, I can see where all the seeds were planted along the way to get me to the exact moment where I am now.
Okay.
It's not by happenstance. This is where I'm supposed to be, no doubt. The first person that I would like to talk about is my daddy. He was a traveler, he was a photographer, and he was an investor. And so further down the road, you'll see why I say investor, okay? He instilled in me a sense of normalcy, that traveling and moving about was, it was okay, it was acceptable, it was normal. He always had a camera. He was always taking pictures. And I do the exact same thing. He was big into investing. And again, investing is a big part of why I was able to take this leap. And so I cannot not add that to the equation. He didn't teach us about investing, but he did it, and he was an example that made sense down the road.
Yes,
okay?
Lived it.
Yes, he lived it. The next person, one of my very good friends, we met in 2004. She was a part of an investment club at the time. I had never heard of an investment club, but she inspired me to do the right thing with my money. Her name is Angela Hargrove. You know her.
Angie.
Because of her influence, I aggressively started investing when I entered into federal service in 2007. So I was investing in the while I was in the military also, but it got I kicked it up a notch once I became a federal employee. So I'm totally grateful to Angie and being the second example of being a good steward over my money.
Yes.
The next person I want to shout out, I'm calling him the unknown E7 in the Army.
Okay.
He advised me when I first got to Walter Reed in 2004. He advised me to buy a piece of property in DC. It was also the best advice, one of the best pieces of advice I feel like I got, because buying the condo and selling the condo was a huge part of the catalyst for why I'm able to be out here traveling the world right now. Okay. I bought the condo in 2006. I sold it in 2022, and cha-ching, it was good.
Yes.
It was good. Yes. I had it for like 16 years. I never refinanced. So all of the money that was there, it came back to me. So really good investment. Now I want to fast forward to 2014, and I'm watching my girlfriend, Stephanie Perry. You might know her.
It's me.
Traveling and living her best life. And as much as I know that you wanted a few of us to step out there at the same time as you, it just wasn't the right time for me. As much as I wanted to hop on that same path, it just was not the right time. But you were the first person, the first Black female in my life that made me feel like I was not crazy for wanting something different out of life.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful to you for leading the charge on this, girl.
Yes.
You're amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, so this channel exists because because I wanted you, Charmaine, my cousin Kim, right? I had a handful of women. I'm like, listen, quit y'all jobs. Here's what we do, right? My channel exists because I wanted you to be out here doing exactly what you're doing.
Exactly.
Or
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if my vision was even that. My vision was just do something. Your vision for what you're doing was even better, even better.
Yeah. Yeah. Next, um, this is another one of your babies, is the creation of the Exodus community. Some of the most beautiful, supportive women belong to this community. Um, some of them I have had the pleasure of really getting to know, spend time with, um, dream with.
Yeah.
We're like spirit twins, a lot of us. It's amazing how, you come together with some of these women. You don't know them from a can of paint, but you talk to each other and you're just like kindred spirits, right?
Yes.
So I have to shout out a few of them.
Okay.
Latanya in Indianapolis. She hasn't made the leap yet, but I met her through the community. Janae in Houston, the luxury vagabond. She and I have met like all over the world.
Yes.
Deetra in Washington, D.C. She's been my good girlfriend for a really long time. Someone that I met in Palm Springs when you invited me out there is Katrina, who is now in Mexico. She's
Yes.
going to be in Cape Town.
Yes.
Claire Reese in Jamaica. I call her roommate, auntie, right? Francis in New York. And also I have to shout out Sandra in Bangkok.
Yes.
And an honorable mention, definitely Miss Rashida Dow, right? From Burnout to Bliss. I took her course and just gave me the extra boost of confidence to know that the decision that I'm making, at the time that I was making, was the right decision. It was confirmation to what I felt like I already knew, right? And it just made me feel like, yeah, I was doing the right thing.
Yes.
So shout out to all these wonderful women in your community. And yeah, just I'm grateful to them. Absolutely.
It takes community. It takes community. So tell us, what was your big leap? What was the big change that you made?
Well, the big change was that I turned 50 in September, this past September. That same day, I called my supervisor and I said, no, 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 no. Let me rephrase that. I called my supervisor. She didn't pick up the phone and she called me back and she said, are you calling me to tell me you're resigning? I said,
Ooh.
girl, you know me so well. Yes, yes. So I resigned. I gave her plenty of heads up. I really just gave her notice that I was leaving, right? So that was at the end of September. Um, I, did the last of my preparation for, those few months. And on December the 11th, I had a one-way ticket to Ghana. And I have not looked back since.
Yes.
Yeah, have not looked back since.
Yes.
Yeah.
And where are you today?
Today, I am in Hoedspruit, South Africa, which is just outside of Kruger National Park.
Yes.
Just right outside Kruger. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Katrina's big leap was that so are you officially retired or are you, what is
That is a good question. That's a good question. I don't know what I am. I don't know if I'm officially retired because there are still things that I want to do, right? Where I will make money, but it will be in a way that I want to make money, right? So I want to become a drone pilot and do drone work. Anything in the realm of photography, I'm here for it. But I do know that whatever I do in the future is going to be something creative and something that I want to do.
Yes.
So
yes.
yeah.
So no more working for other people just with no like benefit to yourself, right? No more working for other people without any I don't know how I want to say that.
The 9 to 5, I think I'm over the 9 to 5, right? I guess that's the best way I can put it. I don't see myself ever going back into an office.
Okay.
and I see myself doing things that I want to do, right? So in that way, I am retired.
Okay.
I'm retired from what used to be.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
So you've been
yeah.
on the continent of Africa for going on 2 months now.
Actually, over 2 months. December the 12th is when I got here. And what's today? I don't even know what today is. So maybe
That's why you don't know, right? Days don't matter anymore.
they
It's
don't
February
matter. They
7th.
don't.
February 7th. So we're about to hit 2 months, right?
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how has it been what you were dreaming?
It was more than I ever imagined. For one, I ended up in Ghana first because my cousin wanted me to be there for the holidays with him and his family. He's married to a young lady from Ghana. And the more I thought about it, the more it just kind of made sense for me to start there, right?
Yeah.
The initial plan was to start in Southeast Asia. And I'm so glad that I started in Ghana. First of all, Ghana was not even really on my list of places to visit, right? Um, but Ghana was more than I ever imagined. And I can't wait to get back there.
Good. Good.
Yeah, yeah,
All right. And now you're in South Africa, right outside of Kruger National Park, seeing
yeah,
all kind of amazing animals just like
yeah,
at your doorstep.
yeah. Literally this morning going to get coffee. I put it on my Instagram stories. Yeah, literally a huge daddy warthog at the steps. I was like, I don't need to get coffee just yet. I'll wait.
You're doing something that a lot of people would say, oh, it's a dream, but I gotta wait for this to happen. First of all, I don't want to do it by myself. I'm afraid to do it by myself. And second of all, I'll just wait. I'll just keep putting it off. There's some other easier things that I want to do first. But instead, you've prioritized what you really want instead of what would be easier to do or what would be like what other people might be willing to come along with you to do. So how
Right.
is solo travel a thing that's always been your thing, or how has it been doing this type of travel, which is harder, it's harder doing this type of travel by yourself. How is it?
Well, for me, so far, South Africa has been the realization that this is solo travel because the first 7 weeks I was in Ghana with family,
Okay.
right? So it was really kind of unrealistic to what the rest of the journey was going to be.
Okay. Oh no, I don't know if you can hear me. Internet. I think the internet got us, Katrina. Uh, let's see. I'm just gonna wait. Okay.
Okay. Are we
You
back?
you were back now.
Okay.
Okay, so I
Okay,
heard you
good, good, good.
say that was unrealistic to what the rest of what South Africa was going to be.
Yeah, the rest of the journey, really, with the exception of course, the meetup and whatever I do with people, right after the meetup. But it was on January the 1st when my cousin and his wife left to go back to the States that it hit me that, okay, you really are on your own at this point, right? This is when it really starts. So, and even though after January 1, I was still with family, it was still a wake-up call that, okay, this is it right here. It has started. And definitely being here in South Africa, not knowing anybody by myself. But I have done a lot of solo travel, whether it was for vacation or for work. So I'm not new to that at all.
Okay.
But it's different when you know you're not going back home anytime soon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about not going back home anytime soon. You sold your condo.
Yes, indeed.
What is it like to feel after all these years to not have that place anchoring you or calling you back? Is it scary? Is it freeing?
I went to closing on purpose during the Juneteenth weekend. I called it my emancipation. I got my freedom papers because that's exactly what the condo was. Aside of being an investment and, something that was going to fund my sabbatical, it was letting go of what was holding me back, I felt like, right? For years, I wanted to get rid of this condo. And it was so freeing. I didn't feel like I'd lost a thing. I haven't missed it. I could care less what's going on about it.
Yeah.
I mean, all of the things I could care less. And
Uh-huh.
I'm so happy and so glad. And it's a house, right? It's a condo. I could get another one if I want to, right? So yeah, no loss. No
Okay.
loss.
Wonderful. Okay. So you made
Just all a gain. My bank account can tell you.
okay. Yes. Cha-ching. All right. So your plan is to keep traveling the world, keep
It is.
learning some new skills and do photography and share that on the internet.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
What a wonderful plan. I'm so glad to see it actually out in the world. I'm so glad to see it go from plan to execution. I'm really excited for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so glad for it to be here also.
Mhm.
And anybody who's thinking about doing it, I mean, the work is hard. Like it was not easy getting to this point. You know, I took all of 2023 to do all of the things to get me here.
Mhm.
It was all of the hard words you can think of, right? But I knew that at the end of it, right, it was going to be what I've always wanted, right? And so I just did it, right? The days that I didn't feel like going to my storage to clean it out, you know, or you know, the drive that I had to take to and from a location to get rid of some furniture that I was offloading on somebody. I just thought about the end goal, right? So it's worth it in the end. It's totally worth it.
Yes.
Wouldn't change it for the world.
Good. I'm glad. I'm glad. I can't wait until we get to see each other in Cape Town.
Mhm.
Now, Katrina, please introduce yourself.
My name is Katrina Skinner, and I am bopping around the world slowly. If you want to watch me bop around slowly, I am on Instagram as underscore Katrina underscore Michelle underscore. It's a lot of underscores, but make sure you put them in so you can find me. I'm also on Facebook. I'm doing a lot better about posting on Facebook.
How are you?
And I think on Facebook, I'm Katrina Skinner, and that's Katrina, Michelle, Michelle. Skinner is Skinner.
Thank
But
you.
I'm sure you'll probably put all of the
You know I
subtitles,
will.
right?
You know I will. I'm going to link to everything in the description so everybody can find you. Listen,
Yeah.
people are going to want to see what it's like to be out in the world, traveling full time and learning new things and taking on new interests and expressing those interests out in the world. So people are going to want to follow along with you. So I'll make it easy. I'm gonna link to everything.
Yes, yes.
All right, so Katrina's outside right now waiting for her dinner in South Africa. Just, living her life. Enjoy your dinner, enjoy your week, enjoy
Thank you.
this new freedom.
Thank you. Thank you. And
Thank-
thanks for being such an inspiration to all of us. We love you.
I love you. I love you. Thank you. All right, I told you, Radical Leaps by women who are ready to live their lives in a radically authentic way. I took some notes, okay? So some things that I noticed, some commonalities that I pointed out a couple of times in the video, I want to point out to you now. These women talked about turning 50 as being a monumental, significant time in their lives. I will turn 50 July of 2024. Yeah, this year, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's leading me towards a big leap of my own. The women talked about people in their lives, some people in their lives, not necessarily sure that the leap that they were moving towards was a leap that a sane person would take. You'll have to know for yourself what is moving you in the direction of what you want for your lives, because some people in your life might question the actions that you're taking. But these women talked about using the support that you do have, letting your support you. In Exodus Summit 2023, Octavia Rahim did some rest sessions with us where she asked us to recognize the things that are supporting us, actual physical things, the chair, the floor, our legs that are actually physically supporting us, and for us to relax and let those things support us. And since then, I've been changed, and I have been letting the support in my life support me. And that's literally and figuratively, letting people prop me up, letting people thank me for the things that I maybe have done for them in their lives. Letting that happen in your life, that may mean using your friend group for a place to stay for a period of time, or family members. I'm convinced that if you're not letting your community support you, you're not in community, okay? If you're always the one giving the support and never the one receiving the support, you're not in community. You're just a group leader, right? You're just a group leader for free. Let your support you. That's an important lesson that I learned. And of course, what we learned in this video is that you need to design your life for yourself. No one else's blueprint is going to work for you. No one else's exact plan is going to work for you. These women shared their strategies with you so that you can create your own life, right? So that you can design design a full life for yourself, because nobody else's blueprint is going to work. You're not going to be able to just jump into somebody else's shoes and suddenly feel fulfilled. So I mentioned that I'm turning 50 in July. The big leap that I'm taking this year is that I'm publishing my book, Job Detox, a framework for Black women to stop striving and get free. It's really scary. It's a really scary thing that I've been working on for quite a while, and I've been procrastinating on and slowing down. And now it's time for me to go ahead and do it. Job Detox will be available for pre-order on February 29th, 2024. That's when the pre-sale will go up. You'll be able to pay for and purchase the book. You will not going to receive it yet. Okay. Now, if you're watching this in the future, hell, if you're watching the replay, hello friends in the future. I hope the future is amazing. How are you? Then Job Detox is already available for you to purchase. So go to vicarious.com/job detox. Go ahead and get your book. If it's not February 29th, 2024 yet, where you are in the world, then go to vicarious.com/job detox, and please get on the wait list so that you don't miss it. You don't want to miss this. All right. I really appreciate you for watching this video. I also really appreciate these 5 women for coming in and talking about the radical leap that they took in their lives and what that's done for them. Thank you so much, Frankie, who is Joy Route on YouTube and Joy Route 50 on Instagram. Frankie got out of her sickbed to talk to us, so thank you so much, Frankie. Thank you so much, Kira, who is Designing Ease on Instagram and YouTube. Thank you, Lamar, Mar, who is 60 Solo Black Mystic Traveler on Instagram. Thank you so much to Adelia, Picky Girl Travels the World on Instagram and YouTube and everywhere else on the internet. And thank you so much to my dear friend Katrina, who is _Katrina_Michelle_ on Instagram. I will link to all of their platforms in the description of this video. Please go ahead and go to the description of this video. Follow them wherever you want to so that you can hear more updates from them. And more importantly, so that you can hear a more deeper dive into their leap. This was a short interview back to back where we gave you a little taste, but make sure that you go to their platforms, go to their YouTube channels or their Instagram where they're sharing more detailed information. If you need more information, get it from them. Okay? Thank you for watching this video. Hit the subscribe button before you go. Hit the like button before you go, and share this video with a Black woman you know who is ready to take a leap in her life. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.